I would like to welcome you to another interview. I am Tanya Leslie of Inspire Photo Art. I am a maker, designer, photographer, amongst the many, many torches that I carry in life. And in this interview series, I've been interviewing other women who are continuously progressing forward in carrying so many torches as either entrepreneurs or homeschooling parents, or the list goes on and on. So it is my pleasure today to introduce Michaela VanOmmen, who is a dear friend of mine. We work together, and I am so fortunate to have Michaela on board. Michaela, could you please introduce yourself, give a brief synopsis of I don't know, of your life, the many things that you juggle, and what is it about you that helps you overcome to accomplish each of these things?
Okay. Yeah, so I'm Michaela, and the things that I juggle have never been few. I was in an accident, and prior to that accident, I juggled 9, 12 jobs on average. None of them are fun, but it was always all of those. And in addition to that, hanging out with a toddler at home. And since the accident, it has looked like parenting a child and healing and working with Tanya, which is delightful, and various other jobs that were very short. And I tend to have a creative outlet, or I need a creative outlet at one point or another. And so I may be working on a quilt or a weaving or a painting or drawing or whatever, just as the outlet is needed. And I always have plants alive. There's something about taking care of a plant that is so peaceful and calming and rewarding to see it living. We live in a harsh climate, and so seeing your plant live outside is nice.
Right. A plant other than kale. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or dandelions or useful. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And as far as what helps me juggle all this is keeping our house tidy and free of as much clutter as possible. You can see my bookshelves in the background. There's some clutter. And
books aren't clutter.
No,
they're
the stuff around them. Yeah. And being on schedule and just acknowledging to ourselves and being able to say no, even if something sounds really fun, being able to say no, that will impact the rest of our schedule poorly. And those things I've noticed have been the most useful in juggling all the various things. And that's from working externally to working within our household. And that those don't just apply to events, they can apply to stuff or to maybe forming new relationships or leaving old relationships, finding a balance between all of those.
Yeah. So, I mean, tackling a life of kind of a hand cultivated, right? Hand picking the elements that play a major role in your life it's honestly a very courageous thing to do. Being able to know what needs feeding, what needs letting go, and that's often a struggle. Do you have a process like within yourself that helps you go through, assessing a situation, which one is a good one to feed, which one, at what point do you decide this is a good time to let go of this, let this one fall by the wayside? What is your process for being able to discern those details?
Well, maybe I'll start with letting go. As far as letting things go, if it's stuff, it's pretty easy. I just heard somebody call my process their thrifting rampage, where they go through the house and everything goes to the thrift store. And at that point, people start clearly.
Right.
So for stuff, that's pretty simple. Unless it's got like emotional ties, then I have to really carefully consider. But at the end of the day, I think everybody has to do that. And as far as events and maybe relationships, I tend to maybe carry longer than is absolutely necessary, because I would rather not do anything of letting go of people flippantly. Yeah, very carefully thought. And at that point, it happened before as a household and teaching a young person that the idea is that we are not shunning them, that we are just not simply putting them into our schedule regularly, or if we come in town, that of course we say hello and we are polite and we ask how they are doing, because we care about who they are as a person, just because they're together, right? And that will always be the case. And so that's as far as letting things and what go. But as far as including things in life, if it involves our whole household, we all chat about it. We all say, we're willing to sacrifice. What comes to mind at the moment is a theater production that requires 2 to 3 weeks of our lives. And I'm not kidding. It is the fullness of those 3 weeks. It is, it's a lot. And so this fall we had one, and prior to agreeing to it, I said, okay, so the production is right around when we have to clean up our yard for autumn. And we have, I don't know, probably very, very large cottonwoods around our house. And so we pull out several truckloads of leaves and we grind them into bits, so it's not even full leaves. Yeah. And so the idea that I can't do that, normally it's my job, and I can't do that by myself if we're also doing this. And so the agreement that we would support one another as a household during this household. And then for me personally, I don't know those things very easily, and probably all in the way. The selecting is, if I don't hear an internal screaming of no, then I consider it. But if I hear that no, I really it's probably not life-giving if my whole body is saying don't do that, or don't pick that up. And otherwise I pick up whatever will grow and stretch me and still leave me with peace. And permit into my beyond what she already invites into her life, I suppose, because she's her own person, is I look down the road of whatever she is selecting. We are mindful of the toys that come through, because the toys are, in my opinion, should be tools that teach us how to continue in life and how to practice life as an adult, because just around the corner she'll be her own adult in this world. And to prepare her for that. And I mean, we still play with blocks, and I think it's good to learn about it, but we don't have a lot of noise making toys. We have lots of instruments, and we play with those.
We have tried to. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, we have tried to embrace that same theory for so many years, that, you know, what we play, it's practicing, right? As a child, it's practicing. So why not practice the things that we hope to bring to fruition, the things that bring light into the world, the things that positively impact us as people, because life's not easy at any stage. Each stage is different and difficult in its own ways, and yeah, practice things that add to who you are as a human. I love that. I love that you guys do that.
I think it's important. Hey, we talked. Okay. Yep. Yes, and as far as friends go, so Ari, who is 9, and beginning to or friends outside of my, well, I like their mom, so let's try their kids out for you. Which is often how I do that. But we talk about who they are and who they are as a family, and how much she wants them to live with her. Because at the end of the day, I'm the one who reaches out for plates or various get-togethers, and so we filter some that she is not yet ready to filter. Some people that simply we don't align well enough with. We don't have a lot of time together and play, and so we choose carefully who we do.
Right.
And yeah, I think that's really important. And it's not that any child is less valuable. They are all valuable, and they're all valuable to us in life and as we come across them. But I encourage to choose the people who will support her to life goals.
Right. Well, and that's such a valuable lesson, right? At all stages in life, who we surround ourselves with, are they the people that, in the way that we respond to them, do they help us to bring out the best in ourselves, or do they challenge us in ways that we are not prepared to overcome yet?
Yep. Precisely.
So now, in your juggling of work and homeschooling and activities, right, theater, music lessons, all of these things, how do you logistically structure your day, your week, to actually be able to accomplish all that needs to get done? Because that doesn't even include, food preparation, food shopping, right? What does your typical week look like to actually to accomplish everything that has to happen?
So in our house, we are structured often, almost always. It's a rare season that does not form itself around the season. So winter, we might wake up and travel. That's the thing that we get up and we get the walk cleared, and it's just refreshing. And we get the fire built. We do those things that keep our house flowing for the day, and then we usually dive right into school. And in the summertime, we may go hike and then do school, because I find that structure so helpful to, I would say, everybody in our house. Keeps us, it gives us a guiding light to say, yes, this is a good muscle to work. Yeah. But at the same time, I can sure do work in air-conditioned coffee shop. That's nice in the afternoon. But we dive right into school in the winter time, and we really in older months and learning of all kinds, and then that usually ends lunchtime, if not after lunchtime. After that, I plug into work or any project that we have that needs attention more than the usual food preparation, laundry, the usual house chores.
And, or renovating a room, as you're very good at.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Your room, your house, plenty of rooms that need renovation. It's good. nice supply of those. Usually I work in the afternoon or evening, or in the summertime. For the past few years, we've been to farmers, and so when I come to farmers during the day, we don't move our bodies very much, and we just need to move our body every day. And so we may do something in the morning that allows us to move freely, and then in the afternoon, between talking to people at the market and the random moving around, take our work. And I appreciate the differences in the seasons. And then evenings, we try not to have more than, because it's keeping us to avoid having more evenings out a week. And then the rest of them are in. Like last night, husband was making cookies. I was quilting on the floor, and Aubrey was teaching a yoga lesson in the living room. And that's kind of a normal evening for us, where it may include reading, the occasional movie, the occasional, well, we're still flooring. Flooring, the neighbor's toddler's bedtime up, because you're loud and not very nice and close neighborhood. And, we try and keep our evenings a time when we can relax and not do straight up work.
Yeah.
That is life. Not that work isn't, but filling up rather than draining them.
Yeah, absolutely. What are the most challenging parts of your day, week? What's your strategy for overcoming those challenges?
The days of our week when we have a lot going on external to our household. So I have an appointment, and then we have lessons later in the day. And so those transitions between all of what we get done every day, those external things, those times is challenging. And as far as overcoming that goes, I remember, it may sound horrible and you can't use it as a that the dishes will always be there and will always be there. The floor will always be stopped in our house. We share shoes all the time. And math will always need to be done. And so I say to myself, we will get it done. And I take a deep breath, I do. And we do end up getting it all done, even if it's a little bit focused. And I have all of this happening as well. And so because we can't stop to chat about draft spots because we're currently not studying drafts.
Right.
How to write a paragraph. Unless you're going to write about draft spots, I suppose. And I love and so I would say that is one of our challenges. Also math. To any homeschooler out there, I don't know a single, maybe I do, maybe your household. The only ones I can think of for math is not a stressful subject because it is hard. It's continuously growing. You do not get to sit in a nice spot ever. For math, we just try and keep it a really quiet environment so that there's plenty of space to think. And we take a deep breath. Sometimes we drink tea during math. Other times I totally divert from the lesson and attack the idea that they're trying to teach from whatever angle I And we often will take word problems and put them and make them chai problems, because Aubrey's favorite thing in the world is chai. And so she buys herself chai. So how many chais would that be? And if you have this many chais, how many chais do you still have?
Well, it's got to be relatable. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Whatever we have, whatever we need to do, try and tailor it to our.
Right. Put it in the place of practicality. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I would say are the hardest parts of our life. And it's not a physical challenge, as a definitely mental and emotional challenge there.
Right. What do you do to keep yourself grounded daily, right? To be able to, get up tomorrow and, rise and repeat, rise and repeat, rise and repeat.
Well, I had someone encourage me. They said, just start with 10 minutes of time alone. I need a lot of time alone to process what's going on around me throughout the day and what's going on within myself. Otherwise, if I'm with other people, I simply, I don't do it. I can't do it. Yeah. And so I take a long time, whether that be we're doing our thing in the room, and so 20 minutes of like you're doing your thing and I'm doing my thing, because we live in a smaller house. Or if it's been a particularly stressful moment of life, I'll go and shut my room, journal or read a book, and and really it's not a very long time, 10, 12 minutes. I have one child in the house, and so only having a child, to some degree, you have to be their sibling. Yes. Right. And play. And so that has been really a very helpful tool that I picked up more recently than that. And organizing your thoughts is really helpful, because if you notice patterns, say, oh, it doesn't seem leading to the end of a day that I want to look the next day. Right. Yep. It seems to be leading to an unhealthy level of stress or unnecessary burden. And so then I can work out a way. Yeah. I breathe a lot. Heard that baby shower one time, deep breath could be your best friend if you let them. And those are nice and helpful. And I go outside at least every day, because working from home and homeschooling, you don't necessarily have to leave your
right.
And to go out of into, whether it be just to take care of the cross tile or rearrange the shed, or I don't know, something of those sorts. It's very helpful to be outside.
Yeah, make a reason to have to go out there. Yes, when everything that you have or need to do is within the walls. A good reason to just get outside of them.
Yes, I mean, to interact with humans too. If you go into town, I think it's good for me to interact with other adults in town that I don't necessarily know, but that I find that support.
Yeah.
And my other way of figuring out how to handle a day is that somebody has done it before me. I was working in a homeschool co-op, and the fearless leader of the group, she continued to say, don't recreate. And she is so short of a creative outlet, somebody
Mhm.
else has done it, and I can
Yeah.
certainly look into it and then tailor it to our situation. And so it's
Yeah.
nice to not be problem solving all by myself ever.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That one took me a long time to just to be able to accept the fact that I don't have to solve all of those. Somebody else did solve that, and it's okay to take a piece from here and a piece from here and put them all and create your whole own puzzle out of individual pieces. It didn't have to be a unit in its entirety.
Right. I can see
Yeah.
that. It's good to
Yeah.
problem solve as well. But
It is. It's true. It's very good. What do you have any personal items that, I mean, the last several years for you look very different than several years prior to, but do you have any other, personal items between homeschooling and, a long-winded accident recovery? Work looks different, home life looks different, marriage. Are there any personal items that you have said, okay, this is still a life goal, and yet I'm going to bump that one out 10 years. I'm going to bump that out, several years, as opposed to maybe a previous timeline that you have had for it?
you cut out there for a minute. Talking about
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
you're at still, and then something, and then
Do you have any personal items that that were your own personal goals that you have put further out on the radar, on the back burner, while you embrace what life is right now, and yet still have that out there on the horizon for you?
yes, the first one I would like to go on a hot balloon ride. As it stands, our house does not. I was saving up change, and our house does not allow for that amount of change. 2 square feet. She has to go to build, and I will at some point go on a balloon ride. And I realize that is not a lofty goal. Well, actually, it is. That was an unintentional pun. It is a literally lofty goal, but it is not one that would take much of my resources other than monetary
Right.
dedication. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Otherwise, I have to keep learning. I can't not. That was the reasoning behind 9 to 12 jobs all the time. I cannot do the same thing over and over again after I mastered over and over again. Like open to the point of mastery. And then I need to grow. And if the situation doesn't allow me to grow, then I move on. And thankfully, being a wife and a child allows you to grow because they're always changing, and renovating is always changing.
Yeah.
So I didn't ever have the goal of like I want to be a doctor or I want to be a CEO. That was not ever something I had a goal of.
Right.
But it's possible it could pop up. I don't close myself off to that possibility.
Right.
Ever so often I come across a subject that I just would really like to know about or do better. And the idea of an online college alongside of all we do here sounds really doable. It looks to me like, wow, classes on my own time and just submit a that looks and attend the occasional lecture that looks really possible to change stands at the moment around or include that in our lives. So whether that be writing courses or political sciences.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever happens to pop up. And
Yeah.
I'm not a very traditional person in our current culture. I don't do anything hardly like how our culture does. And so I don't know that I would ever get a full degree because it doesn't seem important to me. But
Right.
if I did, it would be on the, yeah, I enjoy working though and producing something that's outside of our household. It feels like a way to interact with the world.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, leave it there.
Yeah.
Yep, it does not have to come into our family life. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you are you show wisdom far beyond your years.
I appreciate that.
So I know that you are personally a big fan of literature. I love literature for its ability to inspire, motivate, influence, educate us. Do you have a favorite book and why? What's your favorite reading material?
I am really terrible at choosing favorites of anything. Really bad. Yep. There's so much goodness all around me. And it's hard to
You can list
select one
5.
that's good. Well, so I was pondering this question. It occurred to me, I have kind of favorite books of the month or season. Almost always in November, my favorite book is Jane Eyre. And she's just so inspiring. She always does what she knows to be right, despite how uncomfortable and how unpleasant it is. She always does what she knows to be right. In November, I need that kind of inspiration because I could stop moving and hibernate. I really could. But yeah, she's doing the hard thing. I'll do the hard thing too. I'll keep moving. I will keep doing, even if it's really cold sometimes. It's not always very cold in November. This November is. And it just creating, if that makes sense, or allowing life to happen instead of hunkering down for the winter. Because of 9 months of winter, it would always help me into gear for winter behavior. Yep. Inspires me to keep going. Yeah. And it's beautiful and it is the dark and stormy month. And yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's true. What advice would you have felt very impactful if you had received it 10 years ago? Or what would you rather, what advice, one token of advice would you give to somebody, you know, in your similar position 10 years ago? What would have, yeah.
Well, beyond like the physical advice of buying houses as well, a lot of recent beyond advice like that, or I have life advice like do get a credit card and treat it responsibly. That would have been good advice. Like life advice.
Yeah.
Someone towards this idea recently that I heard them put my feeling and thought to words, is that I will not apologize for the space I take up in this world. And do not ever apologize for the space you take. And that is your space, and you do deserve that space. And that it took having that accident to be like, well, I have to take up this space. I literally cannot move by myself.
Yeah.
So you don't need to apologize for where you are in your life. For your you do not need to apologize for that. And all good, to some degree they were wrong, those who did. But at the same time, just because I wanted to do what was right doesn't mean I was wrong.
Right.
Yep. And to not apologize for being who I am. To not need at the same time for others to praise exactly who I am right then. I don't need that. Yep. I wish that I'd learned that much earlier in life. Yeah.
You have wonderful wisdom and advice.
That. Very helpful.
I had one more question. I didn't want to forget this one. What historical figure, who out of history really inspires you? Obviously, being a part of Inspire Photo Art, we are very big on what inspires us, what feeds our creativity, what feeds who we are as humans moving in a forward direction, right? These are all very important parts of holding a space in the world, in a community, in a relationship, being able to see others and appreciate them for who they are. Do you have any historical figure that you would say, has impacted you positively? If you got to sit down and have coffee with them, who would it be?
Well, see, there's the favorites thing again. Very bad at picking a favorite.
You can have a tea party. Who would you invite to your tea party?
Okay, I could work with that. I don't love labels, but sometimes they're helpful in identifying patterns that you can help yourself to prosper. And to some degree, I am recognizing that I align with many of the patterns that fall on the spectrum. And so there have been historical figures who are said to have autism or Asperger's. And I'm not saying that having not had like an actual, I don't even know who would label, assign me that label. I appreciate the idea of someone who has been so historically influential, had similar struggles to what I've had, because it seems to me that everybody else was born with a handbook on how you treat people. I did not get that handbook. I had to make my own handbook on the how you emotionally respond appropriately. You just know. Little 3-year-olds just know how to respond appropriately. Having to figure that out with a word struggle. So when I look at historical figures and it said that they were reclusive or emotionally distant or didn't make eye contact or these various things, and it could be just while reading a biography that comes up, or didn't have many friends. I just appreciate that, because they really, to be a historical figure that is of impact, you have to be interacting with other humans. I can't think of any historical figure that does not interact with humans.
Right.
Maybe a fascinating convict is the only idea that comes up.
Or authors to some degree.
Yeah, that's true. But even they interact with humanity in the idea of their characters.
Yeah, that's very true.
And so when people like Albert Einstein or Thomas Jefferson or Mozart or Michelangelo, when they come up with these traits of struggling on how to interact in the world that they live in, it's very inspiring to say, and look, they produced some of the most beautiful things we know. Light in the household. Wow, right?
Right.
The paintings around Europe, the music that we just hum around the house. They produced such beauty and light.
Yeah.
Despite and impacted humanity at the same time.
Yeah, despite or partially because of. Yeah.
Right. Maybe because they had to really focus in and try to understand what it seems others naturally have no problem to understanding.
Which is just a perception.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So you didn't get the hand there?
I didn't. Yeah. I'm reading Brene Brown's Atlas of the Heart, and so many books by Brene Brown I have read and appreciate to a very deep degree. And she discusses in there that life handbook that didn't actually exist.
I appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. But I needed somebody to vocalize that to me because I did. I went around with the assumption for so long that all these people have it figured out. And, so many years ago, a dear friend of mine said to me, she said, being in our 30s at the time, she said, we're in our 30s now. I mean, we're not supposed to be practicing anymore. It's supposed to be life. And I thought, oh, wow. Yeah, at what point do you cross that threshold of I'm no longer practicing to be an adult? I'm really just doing it. And where is that handbook that told her that?
Exactly.
I'm gonna have to ask her. I'll let you know.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll buy it.
And yet, what elements of my life would that handbook actually apply to? Probably very few. Yeah. Right. That puzzle is made up of so many pieces from so many different parts of who we are as individuals. And that's what makes our puzzle unique, which is also what makes our contribution unique, which is what makes it so that you can work and homeschool and clean up leaves and quilt and Sam can make cookies and enjoy varying types of literature. That puzzle is unique by design.
That is true. I would agree with that. Yeah. And I look at what is said to be normal, which I don't think is real, the normal American life. And I say, well, I don't want that. And so, but then you're left with the beautiful question of, well, what do I want?
Right. Begs the question, what is it that you want? I have decided what I want is what I have.
Exactly.
And so many years ago, I figured that out. Wow. Somebody said to me for traveling for work, they had asked me a couple of questions and they said, wow, you live such a cool life. And I thought, I do. I really do. I love my life. I love the dear people that are a part of it, that whether they have any idea or not, that they contribute so much to the quality of life. I hope they do. I hope I express that. But
yeah, I appreciate that as well. Yeah, that's one of my tools for getting through the day. I look around myself and wonder, like, okay, what do I actually appreciate about what's going on? Someone's learning, someone's working, someone is probably doing 20 other things. Bet you can't guess who that is. and I say, well, we are a machine that produces a lot of life, and I'm very happy about that and contented with it, or satisfied might be better. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Well, on parting, is there, on this note of inspiration and how we all keep moving forward, right? What drives us to move forward? Do you have an inspiring quote that you could leave us with?
Yeah. So, Aubrey and I, we look at quotes often and find them as helpful tools or funny things to laugh at throughout our day or week. This is one of the quotes that she's had memorized before, and I just find it continuously helpful. It's I have it written down over there because I'd otherwise forget it, but I probably have it. Yeah, it's by Rumi, and it's your road and yours alone. Others may walk it with you, but no one can walk it for you. And that idea, it's continuously helpful. Am I happy with my road and where it's going?
Right.
I have the choice to alter it. No one else can alter it for me.
Right.
Yeah.
You could allow them to, but that's just, it's like bumper bowling.
Exactly. And rather, I look at that almost like an enslavement. I mean, aside, I guess I do have to say, if somebody hits me with a car, that does alter my road. Just for a time.
That was road altering. That was trajectory defining.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
There's various things that you can do to alter someone else's road, but at the same time, it's what you do with your road, I suppose.
Yeah. It's so true. Well, Michaela, thank you so much for your time today. So you can find Michaela on inspirephotoart.com. She has her own page on there under who we are. She is Michaela VanOmmen. Is there any other location you would like to throw out there, short of markets, summer markets and whatnot, that people could find you?
Well, we tend to be on the bus a lot lately. Dabbling in the homeschool community, though probably not at a co-op. You could probably find me on social media, but I don't go on there very often. And apparently there's photos out there.
There you go.
Yeah, and we have a favorite. Oh, you could probably find us on South Cottonwood. It's our favorite hiking trail.
That's a beautiful one. It really is. Yes. So you can find Michaela in person. If you ever want to reach out to her digitally, you can email sales@inspirephotoart.com.
Yes, that's a good way. Yeah. Yes. And then I'm happy to meet up in person. Yeah.
Coffee, tea, good smoothies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not coffee. Yes, coffee?
Yeah, when you hit your head, your flavors change, and then you just drink copious amounts of black coffee all day long.
Yeah. They're good for the brain synapses.
Probably, hopefully.
That's my excuse.
Yeah. Opens the blood vessels, I think.
Yeah. A necessity for an energy-full investment day.
Yes, and my days require nothing less.
That's true. Well, thank you again, Michaela.
Thank you. Those are thought-provoking questions.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'm so glad.